Greetings. And welcome to House of R, a Ringerverse podcast here on the Ringer Podcast Network.
San Diego Comic-Con edition.
On location. My goodness, look at this. It is Saturday night.
Yeah.
You'll probably be hearing this a little bit later, but it's the end of a long Saturday in Hall H, a long and fun few days here on the ground at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And we couldn't wait. We were originally going to pod tomorrow, but no. Coming off my first ever Marvel Hall H panel.
Much to the delight of our production staff, we said.
They're miserable now, but they'll be thrilled tomorrow when they don't have to be here in the morning. We just wanted to get together much like we did last year.
Yeah.
Last year was Sunday morning, and listen, hindsight, it's 2020. I already had COVID at that point and just didn't know it yet. By the time I got home a few hours later, I was like, I feel like I'm going to die, but we still made a podcast because such is the joy of being out in the world together.
Do you want to breathe on me right now just to make sure that I get whatever you inevitably have?
I feel like I've breathed on you quite a bit, but yeah. We're in it together, folks. We're in it together. Ride or die.
That was horrible. I will say, we spent many hours really close to each other in Hall H.
Yeah.
Both today and yesterday. Was that yesterday? And
this is our third day here.
Yeah.
We're doing great.
You had a mask on for
just today.
For today, and I was impressed.
Only because in the frantic search for a seat at one point, I somehow spotted like an oasis in the desert, a seat. And it turned out it wasn't a mirage. It was a real seat. Said, is that open? Sat down. And then the lovely gentleman who had said, yes, in fact, that is open, started coughing and sneezing quite a bit.
And then
I thought, you know what? I'm going to pop on an old mask for
You're like, no offense, sir, but
for a hot second here. So here's what we thought we would do in addition to talking about potential illnesses. Any aches and pains, bodily ailments you want to run through, we'll hit that in a second as well. We want to celebrate. We want to talk about the 5 highlights for each of us, the 5 top moments, the things we're most excited about, the things that we're most excited to see coming out of Comic-Con. I do want to establish a ground rule in a moment.
Wow, that
point
you
of
didn't
clarity.
Tell me about.
It's something that I just think we can work through in real time.
Okay.
It's a question. It's not an edict. It's not a mandate.
Okay.
Is being here together eligible for the list, or is it just, should we consider that outside of the top 5 and just sort of assumed? Really, of course, that's number 1, being here together and being here with all the bad babies.
I was thinking about that. Like last year, I definitely picked like our listeners or whatever.
Yes,
the top
but it was
of the list.
after I had said. Do you remember this? It's after I had said, well, obviously the number 1 is being here with all our listeners and getting to do this together. But even I wouldn't dream of making that my number 1. So I'm just going to say it at the top. And then you had it at your number 1. And I was like, Carlos, can you edit that out of the pod so I don't seem like quite as big of an asshole?
Did you do that?
Yeah.
I don't listen to our podcast.
I was like in the room. I'm like, God.
That's so funny. I didn't know that. Yeah. I don't pay attention.
So should we just make it our shared? Obviously, it's the number 1.
The bad babies who came to the panel, who came to the meet and greet, who like made their own bespoke shirts, who like wore bees shirts, who came and said hi, like just ran up and said hi to us. Do you know?
Incredible experience.
I know you told me that you ran into a bunch of bad babies today, sort of out in the wild.
Oh, every hall, every corridor.
One of them, it'll be a mystery.
Yeah.
Was the author, Christina Lauren, that I was telling you about.
No way.
She told, later it came back to me that she said hi to you but did not say who she was. So Christina Lauren, who's a very famous romance novelist, I guess is a bad baby, ran into Mallory, said she was a huge fan but didn't say, I'm Christina Lauren, and then just like scampered off into the mist.
Was I nice?
I'm sure.
Was I charming?
She was like, her hair was so shiny. She has wise eyes, Athena's eyes.
Oh, man. It was really just such a treat to be here with you, to be here with the gang, to be here with the Midnight Boys. Pew Pew. Always a blast.
The boys.
Carlos, Aleya, Arjuna, Helen, Sarah, like the whole squad is here this year. Mariana is here with us. So that's been really fun. That's right. Charlie was here. Charlie was here for like a hot second, in and out. Assassin. The meetup on Thursday night was a joy.
Yeah.
A blast. It is like so wonderful. On the t-shirt front, they mentioned the custom t-shirts. Shout out to Wolfgang for the Bees shirt.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And Wolfgang said, and I'll remember it till the day I die, which it could be this evening. At this rate, everything hurts.
Could be live on mic.
So I want to get it out there now.
Yeah.
Whoa, you think one of us is going to die on camera one day? I mean, it's definitely going to be me if that happens.
Fingers crossed. Anything for the content, you know?
Carlos, would you just keep rolling? Like if one of us had
our numbers
an event?
would be so.
Yeah,
Carlos gave a thumbs
okay.
up. Okay. The numbers on that episode, can you imagine?
Oh boy.
We topped the charts.
The goal is always to be number one.
What's the podcast form of a snuff film? Anyway.
Maybe we'll find out one day. Wolfgang said, if I came here in a shirt, about one of the things. Yeah, like then it shows I'm a fan of the things that you cover.
Yeah.
But if I come here in this bees shirt, it shows that I'm a fan of House of R.
You. Yeah. And it was like
it was lovely.
It was like a scientific bees shirt. It was like, it was like bees.
It was really nice.
This is what they look like.
The Gods Be Good dual apple shirt.
Right.
With the O's in the good, a red apple and a green apple. That was wonderful. I will say, I think statistically improbable fashion, a lot of Team Green apple people on the ground here in San Diego.
Love San Diego. And they love us.
So that's annoying.
A lot of green apple people were in line. It was great.
The panel, we did a Ringerverse panel today with the gang, and that was wonderful. That was a treat.
Who hosted that?
You did.
Wow.
Yeah, you did. You did great. You did fantastic.
How'd she do?
Toxic Positivity, and then Who's Winning the Year So Far? That was a blast.
Yeah,
so we've had a great time with the squad.
As we always are, we were quite anxious. We were like, will 5 people attend? But the room was full. And that was incredible. And everyone was so lovely. And that will not be a live episode. That is a San Diego Comic-Con.
That's right.
Exclusive.
So if you want those gems,
you gotta
be here next year.
Fly to San Diego, buy a Comic-Con badge, and come to the room. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously that is actually, of course, the highlight. It's just getting to do this together. It's a treat.
Yeah, don't worry. It won't be my number one as well.
Just kidding. You want to edit your list? All right. So we're going to do our countdown as we always do. We'll say a thing, and then if one of us has it higher, we'll wait. Here, I suspect we'll have a decent amount of overlap, but maybe not. I don't know. You moderated a couple panels. You might have some things on here that
you didn't even see.
I've not even gotten to experience. There are a couple panels that could have potentially made my list that sadly I didn't make it down here in time to see. I didn't get to go to the Percy panel or the Avatar panel like I was hoping to early on Thursday. Would those be number one? Tied? It's entirely possible. No, you don't think so? No. As you know, I'm a huge fan of the third Percy Jackson book.
Number one?
So over some of the other things we saw? I'm looking forward to
be honest with ourselves.
Let's start with number 5, Joanna.
Okay.
We'll build toward number 1. And it's possible at some point costumes will become a part of the show. Because we got some merch. We got some giveaways today.
I didn't.
It's gone?
What?
You don't have it?
What did I get today?
The dude.
I gave it to the guy in our row who didn't get one. Basically, we were in a row. Okay.
What's the podcast thumbnail supposed to be now, I ask you?
At the Hall H panel for Marvel, which is not our number 5, but here we are talking about it anyway, unless it was your number 5.
It's not my number 5.
Okay, I don't know why you brought it up now anyway. But anyway.
I thought it might be your number 5. or not in your top 5, potentially.
They handed out, I'm sure you've seen it, they handed out Doom masks with like a little green capelet situation with a hood, right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be one for everyone.
Yeah.
There were 2, by the way, we had been in Hall H for several hours and there were people who had been in there lined up the night before. Everyone was feral in there. I'm sure the Midnight Boys talked about it plenty on their podcast. The social contract had broken down. Everyone was starving and tired and smelled bad, and it was just a lot.
Did the guys talk about the bathroom line? They did? I'm sorry, having to say if you need to take a shit when you line up for the bathroom is
in the men's bathroom, there was a urinal line and a stall line. So basically you had to announce whether or not you needed a urinal or a stall on the line for the men's bathroom. It was absolute bedlam in there. Anyway, so when the Marvel panel started, or right before, they came around these massive bags, and in a bag, there was a Doom mask for every single person in the room. Except there were 2 absolute assholes in our row who took more than one. So by the time the bag got to the end of the row, there were 2 people at the end of the row who didn't have any. So we turned back to those guys. You were there. You were sitting right next to me.
I think it was one guy who took 3.
Okay. And we were like trying to shame him. And he was like, oh, are you sure? And we're like, yeah. And he was like, oh, here it is. And so he produced one, but we could not shame him out of the other one that he clearly stole.
Boy.
So I just gave mine to the guy who didn't have it because he clearly cared about it more than I did.
What a gemstone you are. I
wanted to fight that guy, but the woman who had been there for 8 hours was like, please don't start a fight. And I was like, okay.
Man, yeah. Was this after you got shushed?
When I say people were feral, I guess I was feral. Because I was like, I want to fight someone. And I was yammering through the women on women panel.
I was too busy applying Purell and thinking about how the guys had to declare publicly whether they needed to take a dump to participate in any of that. So I was just sitting there like,
this is not
pensive.
This is not my number 5.
Okay, tell me your number 5. We haven't slept in days. Days.
Okay, my number 5 is, I mean, I don't know. This is just a personal one to me. I sent a photo of this to Sean Fennessy, but there was a giant activation photo opportunity for the film Wildwood, the Leica film.
Yeah, sure.
And underneath it had the release date, October 23rd, 2026.
Yeah.
And so
big for you, a person who drafted that in the hype meter.
Why are you stepping on my lines? I drafted that 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
On the hype meter. Yeah. And it got delayed.
Yeah.
Has an official release date. I just thought it was really funny that it was out there. I took a photo of it and I sent it to Sean. He was like, we've been waiting so patiently. So Wildwood, just being here and being real.
I'm happy for you.
I'm
happy
so
for
excited for that film. I think it's going to be incredible.
The Ringerverse family seems hyped.
Yeah.
Steve Allman, can't wait. You've been excited for years.
But me more than Steve first. Hashtag first, me.
Do you go in the comments of a post that you're excited about and say first?
No, I say it into microphones on podcasts in a really unhinged kind of way. I think I still smell like nacho cheese from Hall H. So, you know.
Did you participate in any activations? Did you go through any of them?
No, you were with me like 24/7.
There were a couple hours that you were out of my line of sight, which is not I don't prefer that. Okay. You know, I like to have eyes on you at all times.
Did you do any activations, Mallory Rubin?
No, we drove past one. You know, we drove past the Silo one last night.
Where Common was doing a surprise concert.
Yeah, we were in an Uber on the way to a lovely dinner. That was probably the number 1, you know, but that's not going to make the list. So
driving by Common.
No, the dinner. All of our dinners this week were great, including the pizza we had, like raccoons in the corner.
Raccoon is exactly right. I walked in. Aleya was like, please wash your hands. And I said, no.
And what did I say? I said, yeah, I have put Purell on, but I'm going to go wash my hands anyway.
I didn't. I just put pizza and then a chicken wing in my face.
What do you think of Jimothy on the raccoon front?
I have no thoughts. What's your number 5?
I think Jimothy's amazing. My number 5 is a tie between Blade Runner and Neuromancer, which feel like things we could talk about together briefly.
The Neuromancer trailer was sick.
And that was a surprise.
Yeah.
So the Apple TV panel was a really long one. That was 2 hours.
It was very long.
That was a very meaty, robust glimpse of the slate and celebration of recent releases as well. And the maybe mid-ish way through, there's Callum Turner, not in person, but on the screen. And we got some branding, you know, a logo, a little the tagline that said Jack in, which I think is risky in the meme era. As I hit the group chat, crickets, no reply.
I might have been asleep at that moment.
Yeah, it was just I'm hoping it was just a rough cell reception in there. But it looked great.
It looked fantastic. And I will say, I mean, I don't want to yuck your other yum of your number 5. I am not like coming down like negatively on Blade Runner. I just thought Blade Runner looked okay, and I thought Neuromancer looked what Blade Runner wanted to look like.
We saw like maybe 45 total seconds of Neuromancer, and there was a whole panel on Blade Runner. So who knows? I mean, it's hard. So we barely got a glimpse of Neuromancer. This is not a book I've ever read. It's obviously a classic, and I would love to read it ahead of the release. So that's next year. That's we have one, but next year's
But it was that
really
Apple
close.
money. You know what I mean? That season one of a new show, Apple money versus like Amazon also has a ton of money, but I don't know. It felt more polished and exciting, the little bit of Neuromancer that we saw.
I'm excited for Blade Runner because I love Blade Runner, both films. I love the first movie. I love the second film. And it's exciting to have more Blade Runner. I'm a little nervous about it. You know, I said this when we did the hype meter, but the idea of Blade Runner and everything in this era becoming just, you know, IP fodder to mine and mine and mine and mine. There's always the risk that something feels like a retread, or did we need this, or like there's a diminishing return on what the core premise gave us in the first place. I hope that's not the case with this. We were introduced a few times over the course of the panel to the term Sunshine Noir.
Sunshine Noir.
Sunshine Noir.
They sort of said it as like one word. Sunshine Noir.
Yeah, so that seems like it's both a visual palette and also a mood, right?
They were saying that the first movie is rainy, the second movie is snowy, and this one is sunny, which is not what you think of when you think of Blade Runner.
No.
But you know, when the footage that we saw, it wasn't like it looked like, you know, sunshine and lollipops.
No, apocalyptic sunshine.
But it was like there was an orange glow around it.
The kind of sun that makes your skin blister off.
Yeah, like the film Sunshine.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
I'm sure that's what you were referencing, and then I just yes-anded your reference.
I'm holding out hope that Blade Runner is good, and I'll remain hopeful until November 25th if given a reason to believe otherwise.
Great.
And it was fun. We got to hear from Michelle Yeoh. We got to hear from Hunter Schafer about the characters, about the dynamic. We're already just kind of instantly like start to theorize about, okay, who's actually a replicant? That's always fun. So I look forward to Blade Runner. I hope it's good. What's your number 4, Joe? I'm guessing neither of those made your top 5 then.
Correct.
Okay.
But I thought that Neuromancer look was really exciting. I'm going to say my number 4 is the panel that I hosted for Neon for the film Hope from director Na. It was at Cannes. It's a sort of like monster action comedy thriller for horse girls kind of movie. It's wild. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. I got to see it because I hosted the panel. I got to see it. So I thought the film was like, I just can't stop thinking about it. Like while I was watching it, I was like, I'm not sure, this is so much movie in this movie, and a lot of like strange things happen.
Yeah.
And like Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander are in it, but they are not in it in a way that you expect. And so I was like quite surprised by how they were used in the movie. But I just thought it was really, really cool. And then like the panel was great. And then everyone I talked to, like the footage that they showed was amazing. There's this like incredible sequence with a guy on a horse and then like 5 people in a car, and they're racing down a road, like on a back mountain somewhere. They're racing down a road, and then like a creature is rushing after them, and they're trying to get the guy on the horse to get in the car. And everything in this movie, other than the monsters who are like CGI phantasmagorical creatures, was like incredibly practically done. So like it's, you know, coming off something like the Odyssey, you're just like they shot these like incredible horse chase sequences in the Romanian forests, but there's no like place to put your normal camera equipment. So like they had like camera guys on horseback and camera guys, like cameras on wires and camera guys on like little motorbikes and stuff like that. And it just all looks like so cool and so grounded inside of this like wildly fantastical story about monsters that are aliens. So I thought that was—
Is that a spoiler or is that just part of the premise?
No, they were saying aliens on the panel, so that was not a spoiler. I did not spoil that.
Did any of the characters have to film their scene through a mirror?
No IMAX cameras were used in the making of this, as far as I know. But it was pretty cool, and I think people are really gonna like it.
I'm excited. I remember hearing a brief discussion about this after the Cannes Big Pick pod, and thinking it sounded strange and fascinating and very intriguing.
It's interesting because I didn't listen to their Cannes wrap up, but my understanding is that both Amanda and Sean were into it, and I'm actually kind of like surprised, or like at least intrigued by it.
Yeah, I feel like that. I don't want to.
Mischaracterize?
Yeah,
Okay,
anyway,
anyway.
I feel like they had takes on the CGI, but I can't.
Oh no, the CGI is insane.
Yeah,
like the CGI in this movie is insane, but I don't think it's trying to be anything realistic, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
if it's like alien monsters and you're like, that looks like CG. I mean, what is it supposed to look like? You know,
Rocky,
perhaps.
You're number 4. Last year, we got to see Rocky's little fingers. Remember that?
I do remember
wonderful.
that. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is it's about Widow's Bay, but it's sort of using Widow's Bay as a way into the idea of really palpable instant euphoria in fandom. Because we love Widow's Bay, right? You and Rob covered it every week, and we're having like the time of your lives talking about it. Group chat after group chat at the Ringer fired up every week talking about the latest episode. It was definitely the show this year that like the most colleagues and people were texting about in real time and having the most fun enjoying. A lot of my friends were watching it and loving it, but you still like, and then, you know, obviously the overall kind of just the praise on the internet, the slew of Emmy nominations. There's still something different about being here on the ground in Comic-Con and hearing people scream in the room for something that is so new, because so much of Comic-Con, and this is on the other end of the spectrum, obviously, part of the really cool, joyous thing about being here is seeing people celebrate things they've loved their entire lives, right? Like seeing, and we've had a couple interactions this week with various folks who are like, I am here with my kid, and I started bringing my kid when he was 6, and now he's 21, and we're still doing it, right? And so the idea of spending
like all the Spaceballs cosplay I saw during the Spaceballs day, which was yesterday, and those are, you know, those are fans who have been fans of Spaceballs for decades, and it was just like really cool.
And so seeing like either your continued journey with a story for a really long stretch of time, or maybe introducing Comic-Con or a universe to somebody, that feels like a really kind of entrenched elemental aspect of the DNA of this experience. Widow's Bay just aired. Like it just wrapped a few weeks ago. And, you know, we went to the showrunners on showrunning panel. Got to see our pal Damon Lindelof, friend of the pod, crush it. And Katie Dippold, showrunner of Widow's Bay, and Craig Daniels. And they were all talking about their various experiences. But when the Widow's Bay anything about season 2 being on the horizon, but just the discussion of season 1, there was such a palpable kind of spark of excitement in the room. And then today at the Apple panel, you know, I'm sure plenty of people who haven't actually seen something like cheer in the room. And there was definitely a guy right behind me who was like, what's this show about? But how many people have seen Widow's Bay? Who loves Widow's Bay? There was a raucous kind of celebration. A lot of people just like across the week were bringing up Widow's Bay, talking about Widow's Bay, asking if people had seen Widow's Bay. And so that just felt like a really fun thing to see something introduced into the center stage of this 2026 Comic-Con, really instantly feeling like it was part of the, not just the nerdverse, but like the cultural conversation in mass, and like something people are going to look forward to, tracking the mythology of and theorizing over, and like knowing that for however many seasons it runs, people will be like engaging with it at Comic-Con. We saw somebody dressed up as Patricia.
I saw a couple Patricias in their headdresses over the weekend.
Yeah, and so that just happened so fast. It's really awesome.
I think it's also okay. We ran into Kingston Rumi Southwick, who's a young actor on the show, in the elevator in our hotel last night, and he was just like, he and his mom were just like incredibly sweet. It was just like really like he was so excited, and he got out of the elevator before his mom did, and she's like, he just turned 18, you know, like he's at Comic-Con. He went up on Hall H stage today, and he just turned 18, I think, or just about to, and like this is the moment for him.
It's awesome.
It was great.
Yeah. It's very exciting when something feels like it's like, because we've been talking a lot recently about how monoculture is gone. And that's true. There are just these like smaller pockets of fandom, but when something really animates a lot of conversation and excitement inside of one of those pockets, it's magical. So it's really cool to see that happening for Widow's Bay right now. It's just a delight. What's your number 3?
My number 3, I'm gonna pick, it's really difficult to choose, but I'm gonna pick the Rings of Power panel that we went to. Which I mean, like all 3 of the things at the top are like really splashy. Yeah. But I think the thing about the other 2 that we'll talk about when we get there is like part of what Comic-Con is it's a celebration of fandom, as you mentioned, but it's also just like a marketing opportunity. You know, it's a way to get us like excited about something. And I was already really excited for the Rings of Power, so I don't know that like that panel did anything to like dramatically alter my mind. I was just sort of like, here's a show I was really excited for anyway. We're both kind of bummed that they're doing like a weird janky binge drop for it, you know, so that's part of the information that we learned. But like Ben Walker, who's who's an actor in the cast, moderated the panel. He was fantastic. They did like a fun little flashy, like they had their version of the Black Riders basically like come out in like red smoky lights, and they were very scary. And that was like some fun, spectacular stuff. And then this interview will run later, but we had Patrick and JD in the studio this morning to talk about Rings of Power, and that was like absolutely fantastic. Like Patrick and JD like talking to us like way surpasses the panel for me in general. So I would say that whole thing is 3, but I'm reserving the top 2 for like things that really move the needle for me in terms of like my anticipation. So that's why Rings of Power is there.
Exciting. I have that higher on my list. My number 3 is definitely one of your top 2 based on that framing. My number 3 is, but it was hard to order 1, 2, and 3. It really was.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Lanterns, which, I mean, the panel was great. The panel was super fun. We got to see far and away the most footage.
Very footage heavy, yeah.
Any panel that was very, very clip heavy, but in a smart way. Got to show us different characters, different dynamics, different elements of the show. You know, getting to be it's a shock to me in real time not to have getting to be in the same room as Kyle Chandler, not number 1 on my list, but ever so slightly edged out. These are really 1A, 1B, 1C. The new trailer, the full trailer that they released was just dynamite. This was like, I think the closest we had this. Actually, there were a couple things in the Marvel panel that gave us this energy as well. But, you know, when we were at the Project Hail Mary panel with Van last year, and the moments where he was just like, oh, you know, you could feel the excitement like mounting in real time. That was just like the first glimpse that started. And then it just built and built and built. And he was so hyped the whole time. And, you know, we got to sit with the whole squad for that one. So that was really fun. You know, the show, I'm really excited to cover it. I hope it's good. I feel like we have a much harder time with the DC HBO shows anticipating what the level of engagement is going to be like week to week. You know, sometimes it's a real surprise and we get something like Penguin and there's just not only a lot of quality, but really a lot to talk about every week. And I really hope that people are into Lanterns and that it's like a fun little invigorating post Supergirl return to form.
Yeah.
Because we were all, you know, we were having a moment of oh, DC is like maybe about to kick Marvel in the ass here moment for a while. And then that air really came out of the balloon with Supergirl, I think. I just
think we make these proclamations way too quickly.
Yeah,
that's
well,
what
we're
I think.
podcasting.
Okay.
That's what we're here to do.
We're just like, Superman was good.
Superman
DC's
was good.
on top, you know.
Penguin was good. First season of Peacemaker was good, not the second one. And you know, Supergirl was just dreadful.
It was very bad.
That was upsetting. Shout out Crypto, though. Still on my mind and in my heart now and always. Lanterns just looks dope, so hopefully it's wonderful. Do you have that at 2 or you have it at 1?
Lanterns is my number 2 because, and I think it was the most effective panel in terms of reversing my expectations about something, because I had been a little down on Lanterns just because of some behind the scenes stuff that I had heard. But I really liked all of the footage that they played. I thought it was like a really fantastic. And like, you know, you had been sort of making the counter argument to me of like, Kyle Chandler in a wax trucker, like what more can you want? Insanely hot. Like this is enough.
Yeah.
I need a little more than that. But what I didn't account for was just the like, how strong the Aw Shucks Coach Taylor charm was gonna work on me. And I should have known that, but like he's leaning all the way into that. Yes. And the show is like the trailer that we saw, which starts with him like tossing a bucket of water, basically like a melted ice bucket on Aaron Pierre's character. And like I was like, oh, it's Matt Saracen in the shower. Yeah. And then they just dropped a line about like, you're the backup quarterback. And I was like, oh, they're just like leaning into Friday Night Lights, and that works on me. So I'm excited for that. So like, I'm excited there, you know, there's a lot of people in that cast I'm excited about, but like the Kyle Chandler getting to like be a more dickish version
Yeah.
of Coach Taylor. Plus all of the like sort of the celebrity stuff that he's doing is really, really enticing to me. So what they did in that panel, even though I thought it was terribly moderated, but what they did in that panel with like all the footage they selected was really effectively sell me on a show that I was very skeptical of. So
yeah, I think that the just charisma bomb that Kyle Chandler is, the dynamic between the Hal Jordan character and the Jon Stewart character feels like such a rich text right away. I think that they're positioning, and this has been there since really the first trailer, certainly was very present in the second trailer. I think, the different paths to the ring, right? Hal having this more traditional, I've been chosen, John training and working and interviewing, and which of those paths is a more virtuous and noble one. The idea of like, are you my trainee or are you my replacement? It just feels like a really smart premise to orient a show around, and they're great. They're great together. They just seem like wonderful together. So that's when you have a core duo that's going to carry the show.
Yeah.
There's you can get away with a lot of other things. How the other aspects of the plot and cast like are ultimately able to measure up to maybe what they are bringing on that chemistry front. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm still a little worried because I've heard from a couple people who've watched screeners. I haven't watched screeners. That it's like the phrase Taylor Sheridan was thrown out a couple times, and that's just like not.
But to me, that's praise.
But that's just not for me. And so I'm just hoping this other aspect will be enough to carry me through perhaps a part of the show that is not for me.
I think there's definitely a little of the Taylor Sheridan in terms of like, small town, not Texas or Montana, but Nebraska in this case, and that cowboy energy, people on horses, et cetera. That's definitely there. I think there is also, as people were talking about with the original trailer, like a little bit of the True Detective energy. There's the investigation. They're hitting a couple of those different beats, but there's also the Green Lantern's comic energy, and that was really fun to see showcased in the new trailer that we got and the clips. The different uses of
seeing Sinestro there.
Yeah, Sinestro, the different uses of the ring and getting a glimpse of Hal in the suit. And, I'd be curious to see what the balance is over a full 8-episode season of that more, lore-driven, comic booky, mythology-centric aspect of the Lanterns and the Guardians, et cetera, and how much of it is rooted in investigating a crime in small-town USA, and how those two things marry together. My hope is that if the core dynamic is compelling enough, the alchemy kind of clicks into place. So we'll see. I easily could have had Lanterns at number 1. I'm really hyped for it. We're only a few weeks away from that, which is pretty wild. So my number 2 is Rings of Power. So we just basically flipped that. No surprise there that we have the same number 1. I think the Rings of Power season 3 trailer looks great. We were so hyped. It was fun to watch the trailer for the first time together in person next to each other and get to, squeeze each other's arms when we saw some yearning tendrils between Galadriel and Celeborn.
Galadriel.
It's Galadriel here. That was also just a joy. I mean, probably should be number 1 just because we had the opportunity to literally say to each other, is Galadriel not here?
Right. Because the actress was not on the panel. Yeah.
That was fun. And we're, as we've talked about many times on the pod, like we're just, I think, such genuine admirers of the thought and care that JD and Patrick put into the adaptation and the way they talk about the world and the story. So it was really fun to hear them talk about it. And the cast seemed, I don't know, like they seemed really happy and excited. And the production, this show has seemed from the first second so like hard and in so many ways, like they've all had so much to deal with and so much like negative inbound energy coming their way. And so there was a part of me that was just like, I don't know, kind of emotional and moved to see them getting to celebrate the thing they make in a forum like Hall H. And I was like happy for them and excited for them. And it looks good, which is important. Obviously, a very Sauron-centric season, which is thrilling. Only like a brief glimpse of my boyfriend, my husband, Elendil in the trailer, so I've got a note or two about that. But I'll be patient. But wait.
You got excited because they re-showed the trailer, and every time you saw him, you were like, "There he is!" Very briefly,
unbelievably handsome, incredibly hot. We learned that Simon Pegg is voicing
a Balrog. We have questions.
Who talks, and that's just that's an incredible sentence, and I'm delighted.
It was a Mad Libs that we never thought we would say. Simon Pegg is voicing the Balrog.
Was that
season 3
also
of The Rings of Power?
Because obviously there was a lot of there's a lot of Mount Doom talk. There's a lot of volcano, fiery inferno talk. This was when I believe the term fiery inferno was invoked. And I turned to you and I went. And I was kind of just like our day, but that's not what you thought I meant.
Your hand was like quite low, and you were like this fiery inferno, and I was like, "Is that what you were calling your lady garden?" I suppose,
and it wasn't, but it will be now.
I guess so.
It will be now, and then getting to sit at this very table with Patrick and JD and talk to them for just a few minutes about this adaptation and the show that they make that we love. And, I don't know. That was just really wonderful to get to meet them in person. We've chatted with them a couple times on the pod via Zoom through a computer screen. And so it was fun. It was fun to get to meet in person.
They're
and
both
really just lovely.
Taller than me, and
they're
wild.
Very tall. And
yeah.
they're lovely. They're angels. And they're just so thoughtful and bright. So that was really a blast. It would be number one. Lanterns would be number one. They duke it out for number one. There's a Marvel panel in Hall H. I think it's hard not to have that at the top of the list, even though there are some things to maybe discuss inside of it.
Well, it was certainly like the blockbuster event of the weekend.
No question.
There's a lot of people who, we have the advantage when we come to Comic-Con of having like press passes for certain things. We didn't for the Marvel panel, but if you have it for other, anyway, it's a long story. But like there are people who had to sleep out, and in a way that they haven't at Comic-Con in a really long time, because in days of yore at Comic-Con, there would be like, yes, the Marvel panel, but there would also be like a massive DC Films panel, or like, there would be like, there was like a big Hunger Games sort of moment, or like a Warner Brothers Harry Potter moment. There would be like other big things, but this was like by far and away the biggest game in town this weekend. Like there was nothing else really competing with it. And so it becomes this sort of like scarcity mentality, right? So it's not just that people are excited that Marvel's back at Hall H, because when they were here 2 years ago, they announced Robert Downey Jr. It's like, this is going to make the Comic-Con weekend feel like a big event. Marvel always puts on a show. So there's this almost, this like scarcity mentality of like, it became like you had to get in to the Marvel panel, or you're like, why did I even come here at all? With love and respect to the people who didn't get in. And we saw them outside and it was like horrible.
Yeah, felt bad.
But like, again, we were scrapping for seats and stuff like that. And so there are things that were announced that I'm like very excited about, but there are also things that like, for example, they led with, we're re-releasing Avengers Endgame into the theaters, and we're about to show
Endgame Encore.
And we're about to show you a trailer for it. Yeah. And I just leaned over to Van and I said, reheated nachos. It's just like footage of an old movie. Yeah. And the crowd went wild for it. And here's what's even wilder. And I'm sorry, we'll get to the stuff that I liked, but like, I think it's insane. And I know that Feige has posted this in theater footage before, but I think it is insane for a movie studio that's trying to get people to come to the movie theaters to use pirated footage from inside of a movie theater to promo, come to the IMAX to see Avengers Endgame Encore. Yeah. They use that like very famous footage of like, it's actually not the hammer moment, it's the on your left moment. I think there were like a couple viral Avengers Endgame, but they like used footage taken on someone's cell phone from inside the theater as a trailer for come to the IMAX to see Avengers Endgame Encore. I think that's insane. Yeah. So that was like, there were a lot of things that I was just sort of like, I'm not sure about this, but Marvel always puts on a spectacle. This was your first experience with Marvel in Hall H.
Yes.
So tell me what it was like for you and what like thrilled you about it.
Quickly on the Endgame Encore front before we shift to the more positive section. I mean, after you said the reheated nachos thing, I did turn to you and I said, I'll be there.
I know.
So I guess I have to concede that it worked a little bit, but I admire the hustle and the chutzpah when Feige's like, when we put out Endgame in the first place, we basically like couldn't really do a trailer. The trailer just had a little, it was a mood. And so like, this is really our first chance to get to make an Endgame trailer. Master spin job to justify all of that.
It was insane.
Did.
And they're like, You can see this one on IMAX. You can't say
I know. But even
Doomsday.
that, they flashed the IMAX so fast before going to the Infinity Vision, which was pretty funny. Like you said, that kind of kicked things off. And so we didn't know yet if we would see anything else that looked good or exciting or what the overall reception in the room would be. And so I had this thought in real time that it felt to me like very risky in okay, I have like a micro penis, let's watch porn to get you in the mood. And here's like a huge
remember
cock.
Endgame?
Yeah.
Remember how much you loved Endgame?
Yeah.
You guys were screaming in the theater for it. I'm going to show you footage of that.
It's like, are you achieving the thing that you think you're achieving by showing people what else they can have? I don't know. Anyway.
Do you remember we were interviewed earlier today and the guy who interviewed us told us he had his dick shield up?
Yeah.
I'm going to start using that.
Dick shield up was great.
Dick shields up.
I could not.
On your micro penis analogy at 9:00 at night on the last day of San Diego Comic-Con.
Love and respect to anyone with micro penis. It's just, dick shield up was, why did that?
Because you made a dick joke. When don't you?
Right? God, you can't take me anywhere.
We literally just met him. All right. So so they served us reheated nachos, and then what did they do?
Oh God. So yes, this was my first Marvel Hall H ever. And you know what? I was excited, and I was getting very scared and anxious that we weren't going to be able to go. And I would have been really sad not to have the experience. So now I feel like I have undergone some sort of like nerd rite of passage by being in Hall H for a Marvel panel. It was fun. I felt incredibly fortunate that I got to end up sitting with you and Van. Our beloved Jess Clemens
Jess was
somehow
with us.
ended up in the same row with us, so that was a real treat. So that was really fun. We had a few things to talk about that we saw there. Ghost Rider, the iconic knit polo that John Barenthal was wearing, but also the Spider-Man Brand New Day footage.
But honestly,
that we saw.
I actually, if you're like, Joanna, name your top 3 things from the Marvel panel.
Yeah, the fit.
It's number 3, the Spider-Man Brand New Day footage that we saw.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about. Number 2, Kelsey Grammer walked really, really close to me, like right by me.
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer is a person I don't care for, but Frasier is very important to me. And last night at dinner, I was talking about Kelsey Grammer being here.
Yeah.
And then so he walked right by me. And then John Bernthal's outfit. That was the best fit of the entire con. He looked incredible. Yeah. He's wearing like a knit polo and some like tucked into some wide leg pants, and he was wearing, and it was like very, it was like very superhero, it was like a deep maroon and a blue. It was like very superhero colors, but like elevated. And he's got like the long hair right now, and you did scream out Wayne Jenkins in the way that no one around us had any idea what you were talking about.
Someone had to, and Chris Ryan wasn't here. So I stepped up and from the very back of Hall H shouted, Wayne Jenkins. Let's talk quickly about Ghost Rider. Let's talk about the little Spidey glimpse. Of course, we'll talk about the Black Panther news. Yes. And we will talk about Doomsday. Ghost Rider. Hyped?
Tell me about your hype.
So we very recently talked about Ghost Rider when we covered the Punisher special, right? I think, and did our list of what would make a great one-hour Marvel spotlight. And I think because I threw that out as a nomination. I think I conceded in real time. Obviously, they're going to do this as a movie, but that would be maybe a fun way to like bring the character back into or into the MCU, into this incarnation of Marvel, and then we can do a movie after. I'm not going to complain about a Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider movie. People in the room were incredibly hyped. They were screaming. They were going nuts when the Ghost Rider logo popped up on the screen. Van was like, let's go.
Yeah.
He was hyped. So seems like people are excited, which is fun. When people are excited about Marvel properties, that's great. That's increasingly rare. So I look forward to that. We learned nothing about the movie other than that Gosling is the
And
star
directed by
and that
Sean Levy.
Sean Levy is directing it. That's it. That's all we got. And we got a 2028 release date.
Yeah.
So we know it's coming post Secret Wars.
Yeah. And
I hope it's good.
It feels soon. Yeah. And you were like, but what phase are we in? But what phase is this? And I was like, I don't think we're doing phases anymore, baby. I think that's over.
It's wild that we're so close to the end of that. But I mean, probably welcome news.
I could be wrong.
Spidey. So Barenthal came out. He and Feige did a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they did a little, we're
little
improv,
theater.
but we've rehearsed this many times kind of thing. It was like, person next to me was like, do you think they've rehearsed? I think they have. Like they have.
Oh, sweet summer child.
And that clip, that Spider-Man clip, fucking ruled.
It ripped.
It was so good.
It was Spidey and the Punisher fighting the Hulk.
Incredible stuff.
And then there's like one of those like clear splash page moments. And, you know, I'm not like the oldest school like comic book nerd you've ever met, but like, you know, when you hear people who have been reading these since they were like tiny, tiny children and they're like, to see Hulk and Spidey and Punisher sort of like in this like holy trinity sort of pose fight moment.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It looked like to those people, they're like, it's like seeing God. And I'm just like, even I was like, this is fucking sick. Like it was really cool. And they're like, and the banter between Holland and Bernthal was really fun and like
delightful.
We don't know what's going on with Hulk in that scene and we'll find out. But like we're right on the verge of seeing Spider-Man Brand New
we're mere
Day.
days away, which is thrilling.
We're gonna see it very soon. But like that footage was awesome.
The scene was incredible. I the Bad Babies know. You know, I love Bernthal's Frank Castle and been excited since the first glimpse to see him in this context, which is quite distinct from his typical I'm blowing every head in sight off of every body in sight with the spray of bullets. But he was firing a machine gun.
There were like at least 100 bullets were spent.
There were
in
quite
that
a few
scene.
bullets. That was a surprise. But yeah, I think even when he was, you know, very prominently featured in one of the trailers, we still had the question of like,
how much is he
actually in this movie? This made me think he's like in the movie.
Was it this or was it the Hot Ones where Holland and Bernthal did it together?
So we haven't talked about this yet. Thanks for bringing this up.
Yeah, puke shields up.
Puke shields up. Dick shields up. Hopefully they're still up. Puke shields up. Tom Holland puked on Hot Ones. Mm-hmm. That's not a thing that really happens, but it feels like it should happen all the time.
Absolutely.
Maybe it does, but he's the only one who was like brave enough
to
say
it.
Yeah, you don't have to cut that out. I don't mind. This will be a big internet moment. How far would you get on Hot Ones? I tried to post this to the group at our team dinner the other night.
Oh, well, we went to like a delicious team dinner that
Shout out Aleya.
Aleya picked an incredible restaurant in San Diego.
If anybody listening to this or watching this has the chance to be guided through a meal by Aleya one day.
The confidence with which she ordered 2 of everything on the menu was
2 of everything and then sometimes 3 more of everything.
It was amazing. The dinner was incredible. It was one of the best meals of my life. But I was eating what I thought was a fairly spicy dish, and I was at the table and I was like,
roasted.
I got pretty toasted. So I'm going to say not far on Hot Ones. I'm going to say I'll be out right at the jump. Everyone laughed at me.
First wing, right at the jump.
There were like what are those called? Bird's eye chilies on that. You're that pork chop. Come on,
you're way too stubborn to go out on wing number 1. As a matter of principle, you wouldn't allow it.
I actually think my lips would betray me first because they get like chapped almost like they can get chapped really easily, and I feel like the burning of the hot wing would just sort of.
All right, I've got an idea for you.
What's that?
You told me once that you had a mango and it made your lips really numb.
It did.
Have a mango first.
But like numb in a disturbing way. Okay, anyway, we're off topic. Let's get back on topic.
Spidey, we can't wait. And it comes out next week and it's going to be great. There was no, this movie's about to come out. We're going to tell you something massive about it. That's not a thing
we learned nothing new. No.
But it looks great. We're excited.
Great clip. Great fit.
It was a great fit. Should we talk next about the Black Panther news? And hit Doomsday last?
I'd like to go back in time and rewrite my top 3 moments because honestly, David Johnson being cast is my number 1
It was incredible.
It was
emotional.
And like, it's really fun. They do this fun coy thing where they like try to, you know, they're like sometimes filmmakers leave Marvel and come back, and sometimes they've earned Oscars. And you're like, okay, Ryan Coogler's coming out. So Ryan Coogler comes out. Or like, Ryan Gosling's here. He's playing Johnny Blaze or whatever. He's like, and another film that he did recently with Starfighter, and we're like, oh, Sean Levy's directing this. Like he's about to bring Sean Levy out. They're like laying breadcrumbs, and we in the audience get to guess what's coming next or whatever. But then they were like, Alien Romulus.
Yes.
They did not say industry.
No. Though they did. Industry is in the press release, thankfully.
Okay, thank God. But they were
Walk
like,
made it
Long
instead
Walk,
the,
Alien Romulus. And we're like, David Johnson, are you kidding? And then David
know.
Johnson came out. It was really exciting. He's so good.
He's
it's
amazing.
Such a cool pick. It's obviously, it's obvious that he's been lifting.
Yeah,
like he's known for a little while that he's playing T'Challa Jr. So, which is what they're calling him in the press release. So there you go.
Right. So T'Challa's son.
Yes.
So some amount of time.
I have a lot of questions because David Johnson's not like
we'll
a
pass
teenager.
In the fictional universe. Will that be? We were talking about this with Van after the panel. Will that be triggered by the events to come in Doomsday?
Some sort of
Secret Wars.
Yeah,
possibly
timey-wimey thing because it does not line up. Well, who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who's to say? But it would have to be. How old is he in Black Panther 2?
I mean, very young.
Very. No, I know, but so would it would be like over 20 years.
Yeah.
And that would be wild if that's happening. So there has to be some sort of time shenanigans going on.
Timey-wimey.
I would guess.
Timey-wimey. So first of all, Black Panther 3.
Oh yeah, Black Panther 3 is happening.
Officially happening.
Yeah.
Announced. We got the logo. We got a date. So that's also coming out in 2028. So not that far away, which is exciting. Coogler, honestly could not be cooler. Pulls out a film strip from his pocket to say that he's making it on film, that it's going to be a large format, see it in theaters. That was awesome.
That was way better than we're putting Avengers Endgame back at IMAX. Ryan Coogler bringing out the celluloid strip.
That would have been incredible, frankly, at any point in time. It's a particularly rich and potent moment to do that because everybody is so high on going to see the Odyssey in theaters.
Well, not just the Odyssey, but
the X-Files announcement.
But when he did Sinners last year and he did all of those sort of this is what this format, his whole basically TED Talk presentation on the various films. Yeah. So for him to bring out some celluloid was incredible. And it was very this is for the film bros.
Yes,
you know what
sure.
I mean? Because it's sort of we're putting it in large format and we got David Johnson, who's a young actor that the film snobs amongst us are he's
Dick
the
Shields
guy.
up for CR and Fantasy tonight, with this news.
I guess so. I don't think you should be allowed to use it.
Maybe we'll retire it.
I think
we'll
I
get
get to use it and you don't.
Okay, fair enough. I love David Johnson.
Dick Shields up.
This is, like you said, letterbox hive rise. Dick Shields up.
That's not what that means.
It can mean anything you want it to mean.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
He used it to mean something very specific, which is you're making a dick joke. I don't really like it. Dick Shields up. You know what I mean?
He was amazingly good in Alien Romulus.
Fantastic.
Just sensational. And a very tender and nuanced and empathetic performance. He's incredibly sarcastic and raw and almost acidically witty and superior in industry. So, he's given us so much already in his performances. And he was so, it was, only a moment on stage after he was introduced, but
he was tasked with coming out and sort of making sure that everyone understood that they were really trying to honor.
Yes, he was very sincere and grateful for the opportunity. So it was just really cool. It was really cool to be in the room for that. It was a
really
lovely
cool
moment.
Yeah.
I would say maybe less emotional, but also a thing that happened in the room. Bunch of big satchels, a Santa Claus bag passed around, and everybody got the aforementioned Doom gear.
Some people got 3, I guess.
And now some people have 0. And let's hit Doomsday. So a couple things happen. Some of which were really fun and exciting. Some of which were just frankly super weird. I thought the Doomsday experience was kind of a bit of a balance. Some oh yeah, let's fucking go. And some, who thought this was a good idea? So
we were in the back.
And multiple members of the cast were revealed as though they were in Clara and the Sun.
I was going to say like a classic car showroom sort of situation.
Curtains peel back.
Yeah.
And they're just standing there for us to gawk at them. And it was like, oh, you're in the back, but you get to be really close to the stars. This is cool. And guess what? Everyone went crazy and it was fun.
It was cool.
Pulled out our cameras, we're taking pictures, taking videos. It was neat.
And then Kelsey Grammer.
But then they just stayed there.
While Downey was like doing some bits, and they just had to like stand there on there was an X-Men stage and an Avengers stage. Kind of I guess not arbitrary. I don't know. It was like an odd division of people, but they they just had to stand there and sort of smile. And there was like very minimal security around them. I was like, is someone going to protect these people? They're just standing right there.
Yeah.
No one attacked them. They were too busy stealing Doom masks. But and then Downey comes out and does his Downey shit. The Downey shit did not work for me at all.
You didn't like it?
No.
I was having a blast.
It did not work for me.
He is. Now, I still, and unless and until we see the movie and it is fantastic, I will continue to say that this is like potentially one of the most nakedly craven decisions and creatively bankrupt decisions in the history of Hollywood. I think Downey will be great as Doom. That's not really the question. The question of whether there's no new way to make a good Marvel movie is the question. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure he'll be entertaining. The fact that he is so tuned in and attuned to the assignment, and that he is so elevated and hyped and hamming it up to the like order of magnitude that can't even be quantified, I find kind of compelling. Like he's just like, he loves the shtick and he knows what the people in the room want and he's happy to give it to them. So that was fun for me to get to experience in person for the first time. I found that to be actually pretty entertaining.
I thought it was really funny that he like started to do the accent and then sort of like backed off the accent where he was like, maybe I don't want to do it live, actually.
I loved it.
Okay, great.
I loved it.
Great. What we didn't love? That Chris Evans was there and didn't speak one word.
So everybody eventually got to go up on stage. And we should say there were a ton of people. It was like 16 main cast members or something like that. There were definitely fewer members of the Doomsday cast there than were like rumored to be. There was not every single person.
It was supposed to be like every single person or like at least 30 people or something like that. But it was just sort of like a smattering.
Yes.
Like Florence Pugh wasn't there. There were like some major people who were not there,
sure.
You know?
A handful of very prominent primary figures were brought out on stage initially before everybody else got to walk up and through. Mm-hmm. Pedro Pascal was definitely most prominently featured, other than Downey. Yeah. And we'll talk about the glimpse of the film we saw in a second, but it was incredibly Fantastic Four-centric in a way that canonically obviously makes sense given the character ties to Doom. So Pedro, Reed Richards, right there. He didn't like really, he wasn't leading and basically emceeing this stretch of the event like Downey was, but he was in every camera shot, right? He was
he was just right over Downey's shoulder. So every time the camera's on Downey, Pedro is just like right there as well. Yeah. Chris
Evans was one of the people who was called out. He literally did not.
He had a microphone. He did not talk. Not a single question was asked of him. Haley Atwell got to say something. Mackie did not get to say anything. Anthony Mackie did not get to say anything. It was like basically Paul Rudd, Downey, Pedro.
Possibly Ryan Reynolds.
I actually think it was. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out whether or not that actually was Ryan Reynolds in the suit. Yeah. Allegedly he's posted. I don't know. I'm too sleep deprived to really get to the bottom of it, and I don't want to like say the wrong thing.
We need your forensic analysis of.
I couldn't find the source photo. It could be AI, but it seems like maybe Ryan Reynolds was here, despite the fact that I guess he told Apple he couldn't be here for their panel. But yeah, he's here for the Marvel panel, maybe. So yeah, that was fun.
That was good. That was a very entertaining amusing little Deadpool bit. It's weird, really weird to have Chris Evans,
Steve Rogers was just like there
on stage and not having engaged with the audience at all.
Like no one tossed to him at all. It was very strange,
bizarre. We got to see
Chris enjoyed his trip to San Diego.
It's lovely here. I hope he got to have dinner with Aleya and enjoy one of the most beautiful meals of his life.
Okay.
We got to see a new bit of footage.
Yeah.
A new,
it was better, way better than the trailer that they've released.
It's not even close.
Yeah. I'm not saying I thought it looked great.
Yeah, you weren't like, we're back.
No.
You know, I would not say your face was giving, we're back, after you saw Van and I were like, ah! And you were like, guys, chill.
I think the way that they tried to like bring a human emotional connection between Reed and Doom and just sort of like, this is a relationship.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were trying to do like a little bit of like a Civil War thing or whatever, but without having done the groundwork of like Tony and Steve have been in other movies together.
So here's my take. I think that there is a version of Doomsday that is actually just, I mean, it's obviously not going to be this, to be clear, but just the first Doom movie in the MCU that could be a really good movie. And this trailer felt like that. Obviously, we still got glimpses of various X-Men and other characters. It wasn't like it was exclusively Sue and Reed and Johnny, but something that is ultimately more focused around a handful of characters who have a really unified story and a dynamic, and then the other characters being brought in to fight the threat might be a path to achieving a coherent, cogent film. The trailer we got last week was not that. It was, we are
Marvel
going to
soup.
give you a ladleful and then another ladleful and another ladleful of your nostalgia.
Right. And you're like, I'm full. And they're like, too bad. Here's more.
We're just, they want us to be Odysseus' men and Cersei's on.
And they're like, you love Magneto. Here's Magneto.
I do love Magneto.
Cyclops, here he is.
I do love Magneto.
Yeah. No, I thought that there's a moment in the footage that they showed us where Doom sort of just like flicks Thor away like he's a fly.
Yeah,
that's
that was
effective storytelling. That's something that they love to do. They're
Yeah.
like, look, you think this guy is big and strong. This is what Thanos can do to him or whatever. This is what Doom can do to him.
Right.
And then he raises the Sentinels. And
That
that was very cool.
Yeah. And even just seeing him lounging on the throne, the aura that he was exuding, that made me hyped.
I just don't think they're beating the like, this looks like it was shot in the shitty volume allegations. You know what I mean?
No, nor will you hear me claim that they are. I mean,
like,
it looks,
Thor and Victor are like fighting on like a, you know, foggy, soupy sort of netherworld space.
Yes.
And so that's still, I think, looks bad to me.
It visually looked horrible.
Thank you. Okay.
The mood. Yeah. the attitude that Downey was giving us in the kind of lounge and the posture made me excited to see his version of Doom. Honestly, that was the most excited I had felt to see his version of Doom. Yeah. So, and even this is actually just because I need glasses, but when they showed the poster and I thought at the end it said Doomed, and I was like, sick tagline. And I realized it just said Doomsday and I just can't see. So that's tough, but
you should call Marvel.
Like, Doomed? That would be sick.
Hashtag Doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just need to go to the eye doctor. So, yeah.
They put that countdown clock back up. It was up there.
They did, yeah. It's the heart palpitations when I see that 4-month thing are, again, less about, boy, that's really soon to talk about Doomsday and more. Where has this year gone? I don't get it. I just don't get it. But we get to see Doom Part 3 that same day.
I'm not worried about Doomsday right now because I can't think that far ahead. Spider-Man's right around the corner. I'm excited for that. Vision's right around the corner. I'm excited for that. So
let me ask you this, not to end on a sour note, but what did you make of the but we're not here to talk about TV? I
thought it was less that and more just sort of like, because I think they are going to do some TV stuff at D23, which is very soon. And so they're just sort of like, this is a Marvel movie. They started with the comics, you know, passing of the torch at Marvel Comics, you know what I mean? And that really surprised me. It's like, you've been waiting 12 hours. Yes. We're about to do some admin and talk about who's in charge of Marvel Comics matter. This was so funny. Feige was like, we would not be here without the comics. And I'm like, pay those writers then if you're going to make that claim, Kevin Feige. Anyway, it's my number one because you can't deny the pageantry of having James Marsden walk that close to you inside of Hall H.
Yeah, or David Harper.
Or David
Taste may vary.
You know, and you can't, and just sort of the experience of all these nerds who waited.
It was great.
a day or 8 hours, or in our case, it was like over 3 hours that we were inside there, just sort of like crammed in there trying to make it. And so light work compared to whatever the other hours everyone else is putting into it. But like then everyone's just screams because they're like, we've waited all day or all weekend or all year for this. And that's lovely to be a part of.
It was cool. So many people put on their Doom masks and their little cloaks. It was
Most
great.
people did. Most people
not
did.
us. We were really far back, so I don't think we would have
You
been
could have
visible
if you
in the
wanted
selfie.
to.
It's too sweaty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
But
gave
I will
away
right
because
now.
I'm a very good person and wasn't allowed to start a fight. So, you know.
All right. So Marvel somehow still at the top. My God. Unbelievable.
Somehow Robert Downey Jr. returned.
There you go. Learn from the best. Learn from Palpy himself. What a treat to be back here this year. San Diego Comic-Con. Will we be back in what years next year? 2027? What do you think?
That is way too soon to... Sorry.
Keep it in.
It is way too soon to make that choice. As again, I can still smell the nacho cheese in my clothing.
Thank you to all of the bad babies, all of the Midnight Riders who came to the meetup, who came to the panel, who just said hi around the convention center, around San Diego. It was so wonderful. Whale's vagina? No?
Okay.
A little round burgundy, a little Anchorman.
I don't like Anchorman. Let's end on a positive.
You don't like Anchorman?
Yeah.
The first one?
Yes.
I'm astounded and appalled that this is not only the end of this episode, it might be the end of something deeper.
Our friendship. We also
Never.
went to the Lestat panel. But
that's right.
That was also a little bit of Heated Nachos. But
that was fun. I accidentally attended the Walking Dead panel as well, which was interesting. But Queen of the Damned, that was thrilling.
Yeah.
What else did we see?
I was just trying to end on an up note and not me
shitting on Anchorman, a classic.
Hating on a movie that everyone else in the world loves. Classic. Listen, we all have our taste.
Yeah, we got to see Sam Reed, singing in a vest.
But
footage of him, not in person, to be clear. Yeah. But that was great. All right, maybe we'll see you in San Diego next year. We'll definitely see you on the feed very soon. Talk to Thrones, the House of R deep dive on House of the Dragon, Spider-Man Brand New Day pod coming in just a few days as well. So follow House of R on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Ringerverse YouTube channel at House of R Pod or Out House of R Pod.
Don't encourage.
Which is thriving. A lot of new posts on there.
Don't follow Out House of R. Thank you so much to everyone, especially the folks who are here in the room with us.
Thank you to our wonderful team.
Incredible work from them. And we'll see you soon. Bye.